long time no chat see live stream.
Do 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 do
Don't
do
start.
do. Too late.
Thank you for the happy birthdays. Yay. Thank you, thank you. Oh, geez, mute your computer.
I forgot.
Oh, jeez. Alrighty. Hey, everyone. So not only is this live stream celebrating my 35th birthday, it's also apparently a celebration of reaching 500 YouTube subscribers. Yay! Oh, oh you're currently in Walmart listening to. Well, I am honored that you so much want to listen to this that you're just doing on your phone in Walmart. That's honestly awesome. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. But yeah, but yeah, so yeah, on my birthday, we didn't do any celebrating because, oh, you forgot a Mother's Day card. Yeah, that's important. I'm gonna be calling my mom. Uh, but yeah, couldn't do much celebrating on, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm sorry. There's a song called 505 by Arctic Monkeys. I'll have to check that out in celebration. Um, but yeah, on the 7th, we couldn't do much celebrating just because we had so much to do. It was an exhausting day. But I celebrated the day after. um, I didn't get any cake because basically I'm the baker of my friend group, and here in China, the baked goods, like the cakes, can be fairly bland. And I was too tired to bake anything, so a friend did give me chocolate, though, which was awesome. Um, anyways, so yeah. Onward and upward. So with with autistic people, whether diagnosed or not, you're still autistic. And I didn't get diagnosed till I was 17, but that doesn't change the fact that I was still autistic. Um, so in the beginning, I was born at a very young age, but sadly, I don't remember anything about it. So, I'm going to have to fast forward a bit. My earliest memories are when I was 4. I have a terrible short term memory, but an amazing long term memory. Um, 4 is when I started rocking as my main stem. Um, I actually didn't know this. But yeah, rocking to this day is still my main stem. I don't actually remember when I started it, but my older sister does, and she told me. However, there are things like that I do remember. They're actually fairly good number. I remember being in junior kindergarten and spending so much time just lining up these like blocks. You could connect them, but they weren't Lego. They were something else. Um, but yeah, I loved it so much. It was like one of my favorite things to do there, just lining them up from one side of the room to the other. And but yeah, is beside it was my favorite thing besides like playing with the rice that was in this like large plastic container. It was like dry rice. And I loved putting my hands in that rice. The texture was so amazing. It was sort of like a sandbox, but rice instead. Um,
Wait, that's literally my first ever memory is when I was 2 in a rice table. What?
um, in senior kindergarten, there was this tiger hood that I would always wear. It was kind of like, for anyone who's seen Bob's Burgers, it's like a mix of Louise's bunny hat and a balaclava, except that it was orange and had tiger ears. I would wear that all the time. I loved it so much. I still remember what it felt like. It was knitted, it was made of yarn. My mom said that she's actually shocked that she didn't see that I was autistic much earlier. I flew just under the radar, and it's probably because I was assigned female at birth. Um, my mom worked with autistic people. She worked at a group home with adults who couldn't take care of themselves, and like their parents either didn't want to take care of them or were too old to take care of them. And some of the people who lived there were autistic. So yeah, is honestly, when I got my diagnosis, she was like, "Oh my gosh, how did I not see this before?" Um, I remember when I was a kid being really into Ariel from The Little Mermaid and Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I draw them everywhere. I've always loved drawing, and I would draw on every surface that was made like of paper substance, like cardboard boxes, construction paper, the insides of cereal boxes, just anything. I remember that there was this one box that my dad said, "Okay, you cannot draw on this." And eventually my self-control got the better of me and I drew on it. He wasn't happy. It wasn't until I was 9 that I found a special interest outside of drawing that not only lasted years, but also took up so much of my brain space. And that was Sailor Moon. I would only draw Sailor Moon characters until I was about like 12. I watched every episode and would play Sailor Moon with my friends, like make believe, at school. After Sailor Jupiter was introduced, she was the only one I'd play as. She was my absolute favorite character. I actually met her original English voice actor just before leaving for China. It was incredible. I had, and still have, they're in storage, a bunch of Sailor Moon toys and figurines. And for my 10th birthday, my dad bought me the Sailor Moon soundtrack until the CD didn't work anymore. Um, but yeah, my mom would joke that Sailor Moon was one of her children. Like, it was just so much of my life. It was just like she became part of the family. But yeah, from Sailor Moon, I jump from hyperfixation to hyperfixation, but still be obsessed with Sailor Moon. You know, Final Fantasy VII, Pokemon, Digimon, Dot Hack Sign, Inuyasha, etc., etc., etc. This to say I was a huge gamer and anime fan. In my later teens, I adopted the label of otaku. Now I would call myself an old taku. I got into cosplaying and conventions, which always made sure that I never had any money. I did start losing my interest in anime in my early 20s, but that was probably because of an abusive friend I had, making it no longer fun for me.
Fun fact, we actually met because I was a photographer at a cosplay picnic and started hitting on them.
Oh my gosh, yeah. My partner is hitting on me the entire time at the picnic, and it just went right over my head because they were their way of flirting was complimenting my outfit, my costume, and so
telling them they looked pretty.
and I just thought, oh wow, they must really like my outfit. It wasn't until another friend said, like, they're flirting with you. It's like, oh, and then I'm just like, hey, want to date me?
Yes.
But yeah, aside from my hyperfixating, there were other autistic traits that I was showing. Having trouble getting jokes and getting easily offended when people were joking because I took what they were saying at face value. I know my siblings would sometimes purposely joke that would say jokes that would set me off. I think the easiest way to do this was to mispronounce my name. My name is spelled Theresa. So my siblings would call me the Risa. Oh, it always set me off. They don't do that kind of stuff anymore. We've all grown up and such. Please don't think poorly of my siblings just because of how they acted as kids. They're amazing people, trust me.
Siblings will sibling.
Yes, siblings will sibling. I think one of the reasons why no one ever thought I was autistic as a kid was because I had friends. Before my teens, I met most of my friends by simply going up to people and saying hi. Well, one of my oldest and dearest friends that I have to this day, we met on the bus in grade school. There was an empty seat right next to them. I sat next to them and said hi. And we became friends. It's been over almost 30 years since we met. After I entered my teens, though, all of my friends were people my other friends introduced me to. Even to this day, most, if not all of my IRL friends are people I'd met through other people who I'd met through other people, and so on and so on and so on. Even my partner is someone I met through someone else. Autistic people are seen as loners who can't interact socially. So because I had friends, everyone just threw the idea that I might be autistic out the window. It was in grade 7, I think, when I was like 12 to 13, that things started going downhill. I started having meltdowns at school, and so my parents started taking me to professionals. I think I went through 2 child therapists or psychologists or psychiatrists or whatever before I had one for any length of time. I ended up diagnosed as bipolar with OCD and generalized anxiety disorder. I was put on medication, and while that medication would work for a little, while my body would adjust, my body would adjust to it and it wouldn't work anymore. So my psychiatrist would up the dose. By 17, I was on the legal limit of several different medications. I was taking, I think, around 15 to 20 pills a day. I remember I was on, is it Seroquel? I was taking 9 pills of Seroquel a day, 3 with each meal. I was so drugged up that my hands would constantly shake, and I couldn't wake up in the morning. And when I was awake, I was a zombie. My dad ended up pulling me out of school because of this. Eventually, my mom put her foot down and said, "This is enough." This led to me being put into a psych ward for minors for 2 weeks. This is where I was diagnosed with Asperger's. This was back in 2003, so the DSM-5 hadn't come out yet. Okay, so funny story. The only reason that I remember that this was in August of 2003 was because while I was in that ward, the huge Northeast blackout of 2003 happened. For those who don't know what this was, there was it was this blackout that affected parts of Ontario, where I'm from, as well as parts of the states of Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, New Jersey, and New York. And it all started because a tree branch touched a power line in Ohio. But yeah, I remember sitting in the hallway with the two other girls who were there with me, along with a couple of the nurses. And we listened to news reports of people in New York City getting out of their cars and helping direct traffic. The emergency power was on, so we still had electricity. Anyways, tangent aside, when I was being released from that ward, my dad and I were sat down, and a nurse explained to me that I had Asperger's. My reaction was basically, I have what? I'd heard of autism, but I'd never heard of Asperger's. She explained it a little, but I don't remember anything she said. When we got home, um, my dad and I looked it up online. And we didn't find a whole lot. The best we found was like a list of traits that basically just explained that Asperger's was the reason I rocked and a few other things. But half of the list didn't apply to me. So I went on with life just assuming that most of my issues were being caused by my being bipolar. After this, I tried high school again. It didn't go well. I finally passed grade 9, but dropped out during grade 10 when I was 18. Since I was 18, I was eligible for adult ed, which I did for a few years before giving that up too. I got on disability, moved out of my hometown, and my life was pretty much just me on autopilot until I met my partner and started college. So I started making my comic in early 2017, I think. I was 30 or 31. I remember starting it before moving to China, but I didn't start posting it online publicly until my second year in China in late 2018. I was making it for over a year before anyone outside my family and friends saw it. And it was while I was making my comic that I really started learning what it meant to be autistic and that I had been misdiagnosed. I wanted to make a comic since I was in my tweens, I think. So I would start something and then drop it not long after starting it, like a lot of my stuff. I have so many work in progresses. It just died. With this comic strip, I started, and I started it, and then I hit an artistic roadblock for a while before getting back to it after moving to China. After I started again, I just kept going. I just kept getting idea after idea after idea. To help me get more ideas, I started actually researching autism. And there was so much information out there that wasn't there in 2003. So, a bit of needed information. Before leaving China, I was on two medications, citalopram and lamotrigine. I was on them because even though I had been diagnosed as autistic, it was still believed that I was bipolar. So these medications were used to stabilize my mood and help with depression. My partner and I had no idea what medications were and were not allowed or available in China, since looking for that information usually led to pretty vague answers at best. We figured that the best course of action was to wean me off of my medication with the help of a doctor. Don't worry, we didn't do it just alone, willy-nilly. And then deal with it in China if needed. So when we moved to China, I was completely unmedicated for the first time in since I was 12 or 13. This is like over 15 years, first time I had been unmedicated. And we were expecting me to break down eventually. Funny thing is that I never did. I was fine. It wasn't until I started researching autism that I found out that it was common for AFAB autistics to be misdiagnosed as bipolar. I remember finding this information and it was like a light went on in my head. Oh my gosh, I messaged my partner at work immediately. My mind had been blown. For over half of my life, I believed that I was bipolar. And then suddenly, it turns out that I wasn't. Honestly, after being taken off that medication, and finally accepting that I was autistic, I became more emotionally stable than I had ever been before. Now, that doesn't mean that I think medication is bad or anything. Don't get me wrong, take your meds. The only reason why mine didn't work for me is because I was misdiagnosed. Just accepting that I'm autistic and accepting my stimming and the way my brain works did so much to help me. It also helps that I'm with someone who accepts me, all of that as well. And yes, Jelly Bean, there is a lot of sexism in medicine, and well, Fenos, yes, racism too. I'm lucky, I'm white, or things could have been a lot worse. So, if my comic has helped you, trust me, I'm right there with you. It's helped me too. It helped me realize that I'm not bipolar. It helped me realize that I'm not alone. Making my comic has been so therapeutic for me. I have grown so much since it started. I think my partner can probably attest to that.
Well, yeah. Since starting the comic, and since starting this sort of self-reflection journey, it's kind of been remarkable. Uh, for one, I think one of the big things is confidence in self. Just being aware of who they are, what makes them tick, and the different things that are best for them to function just day to day have gone so much further than ever before. Uh, just the ability to be able to know what does and does not affect them and help them go through their through life, and just how to interact in the world, and from an outside perspective, and ease and comfortability, good choice of words, being comfortable with masking as required and not seeing it as some horrific chore, well, any more than it has to be. Uh, just being more comfortable with the fact that I will mask, this is what I need to do, and then engaging in it as needed was there. And not just with that, but I mean, the ability to defend themselves, the ability to stick up for themselves, the ability to advocate came from this self discovery. Uh, the confidence in this person beside me has been incredible since this journey has begun. And it's something that is just absolutely remarkable. I do remember when we started dating and going through the years, um, always having this need to check in if everything was all right. And hey, I mean, I think I do the same thing, so I get it. But are things okay? Are things how they should be? Uh, that slowly faded away into someone's like, no, I got this. I know where I need to be. I know what I need to do, and the transformation has been, from my perspective, remarkable. And it's one of those moments where I'm sure everyone's heard the idiom, knowledge is power. Yeah, for some it really is. And just like all kinds of power, depends on how you use it or what you appreciate it for. But if you think about what you're doing the way Teresa has and turn it into something that changes your life and makes it something more, it's something that can be truly beneficial and just revolutionary for someone. Now, would everyone taking this journey end up on the other side the same way? Not a chance. But the fact that everyone has the opportunity, it's pretty amazing. And I know I have learned a bunch. I think that I have become a little bit better with regards to how I approach some of the things that affect them as a person. And honestly, the ability to communicate things makes your presence and situation so much better known to the world that it actually, I think, in many ways has eased the burden on Teresa in a way that wouldn't have occurred at any other point in time simply because they're able to communicate. It's one of those things that so many people don't appreciate in terms of just what like education tries to do is to improve your ability to communicate and get involved with the world. And this improvement, this knowledge, this education of self has improved so much in their life, and they've come so far that it's just utterly incredible.
Oh, thank you. I I think back to the person I was when I first started making my comic. Someone who didn't like themselves, someone who was still on medication that wasn't right for them, someone who didn't see their life going anywhere. And now here I am. I have dreams and aspirations again. I have life goals. There's a quote from Carl Jung that goes, "Life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you're just doing research." And honestly, I feel like that's what the last 5 years of my life have been. Research. I've learned so much about myself in just 5 years. And who knows how much I'll learn in the next five. I just want to say that all of this was made possible because of you all. Honestly, if it hadn't been for the amazing reception my comic got, I probably would have given up on it. I never could have done this alone. I am who I am today because you saw my comic as something worth your time. You have no idea the impact you all have had on my life. And I can't thank you enough. The support that I've been given from my fans is the greatest birthday gift that I could ever have asked for. In my family, birthdays have always been a big deal. There's always a small party with family, and there's cake and presents and all that stuff. This is my fourth birthday away from my family. It's been almost 2 years since I've seen them in person. I'm not gonna lie, things have been tough. But it's been easier knowing that I'm not alone. I have my partner, I have my kitty, Cora, and I have all of you. My comic and my fans have helped me through some really tough times. Here's hoping I'm still making my comics by my 40th birthday. So let's keep this ball rolling. Hi, the Nash IRL. So I have one email, and it's actually from Dominic, one of my $10 patrons. And it says, "Hi there. I wanted to ask you a question about something. As a fan of animation and TV cartoon series such as Steven Universe, I'm curious about what cartoon franchises, if any, were created by an autistic person. Are there any animated cartoons on television, streaming, or online anywhere in the world created by an autistic?" Thank you for that email. It's actually a really good question. I had to actually look that up, and it wasn't easy to find much information since Google searches mostly brought up lists of autistic characters in cartoons, not autistic cartoon creators. But I did find some. One that actually blew me away was Maxell Adams, the creator of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. It was a Cartoon Network show about an intelligent but cynical and ruthless girl named Mandy, and a complete idiot named Billy, enslaving the Grim Reaper into an unwanted friendship after beating him in a game of limbo. It's a black comedy cartoon that ran from 2001 to 2007, and I loved it. Oh my gosh, it is so funny. I The creator Maxell Adams was actually diagnosed as autistic this year. He didn't just make Billy and Mandy though. He has also written for other shows such as Cow and Chicken, Chowder, and most shockingly to me, is currently a writer, producer, and director for Has Been Hotel, which has its pilot episode out on YouTube. And oh my gosh, check it out, it's awesome. um, then there's the creator George Gutierrez, who is a Mexican creator who made El Tigre, The Adventures of Mandy Rivera, sorry. Which is a Nickelodeon show that ran from 2007 to 2008. I never watched the show, but I saw it advertised. Um, it's about a 13-year-old boy with a magical belt that turns him into the superhero El Tigre. George was also a co-director and screenwriter for the animated movie The Book of Life, which is very good. Guillermo del Toro, who is my favorite movie director, was another co-director of that movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Then there's Dan Harmon. If you don't know who Dan Harmon is, I'll just say that he's the creator of Rick and Morty. And if you don't know what Rick and Morty is, then I don't know what to tell you. It's pretty big. He's currently self-diagnosed and realized that he realized he was probably autistic while writing for the character Abed for the show Community, who is heavily implied to be autistic. Honestly, yeah, that was another one that shocked me. Apparently, like, dark humor, cartoons are a thing for autistics. The only other one I can think of is Ray Geiger, who was the lead creator designer for the Netflix She-Ra show. Ray had a huge had a lot of input in the writing and development of Entrapta, a canonically autistic character. I'm pretty sure they had a big hand in developing the relationship between Entrapta and Hordak as well. I know that they're a huge Entrapta shipper since for a while they posted Entrapta art on their Patreon. Either way, their contributions to the show and its story are beloved by many autistic fans, including me.
You have no idea the amount of entrapped deck art that has passed their computer screen in the last few years since it came out. No idea.
I'm sure some of them do, because they probably have the same amount.
Okay, never mind. You might.
I'm really hoping that more and more autistic people create cartoons, since I'm a fan of animated media as well. I actually wanted to be an animator when I was a kid, but when I realized how incredibly difficult animation is, I decided, nah, I'm good. I'm not sure how much you'll like the shows I've listed. As a fan of Steven Universe, I highly suggest you check out She-Ra if you haven't already. It's a really good show, and Entrapta is just a treasure. Like, oh my gosh, she is a gift upon this world. Thanks again for the email. And if anyone wants to send me a question they'd like me to answer on my live streams, my email is in the description below. And in the chat, people have been talking about Pablo. So yeah, Pablo. I haven't heard of that one. I'm not really on Netflix much. But yeah. Check that one out too. So yeah. Time to thank my patrons. Of course, number one is my dad, who's always number one. You're welcome, Dominique. Number two is, of course, Dominic, who's the email I just answered. Thank you for the email. Number three is Tom Racy, who I messaged and never got back to me, so until they get back to me, I can't draw a picture of them because I have no idea what they look like, so enjoy this silhouette. And thank you for being a $10 patron. My $5 patrons. My $5 and $1 patrons now have separate slides. So now they're separate. So thank you for the $5 patrons. And the $1 patrons, who are the reason that I need to make the separate slides, because I have too many $1 patrons to fit in the former format I had them in. There's just too many awesome people. There's just too many of you. You're all too awesome. As we are, winding down and all that, please enjoy this GIF that was a present from Seth Benjamin. Yes, well, Fenos, you've now gotten that song stuck in everybody's head. But yeah, I have a GIF made of Honeydew, and it's awesome, and I love it. Oh. The U.S. Acres Orson's Farm, which was the cartoon with the farmman. Yes, Garfield and Friends. Oh my gosh, I used to watch the heck out of that. I had the DVDs. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Thoughts on Peridot? I love Peridot. She's my favorite character of Steven Universe, hands down. I love Peridot so much. She's my favorite character. Okay, so at the beginning, Garnet was my favorite. Honestly, Garnet is probably still tied for favorite. But then when Peridot kind of started going good, she's became top. Yeah, I freaking love Peridot. Yeah, Entrapta and Peridot, both awesome. Yes, the Teresa dance. Uh, I could watch this forever. I love it. But thank you all for coming for my birthday. This year, yeah, birthday was kind of interesting. What's my MBTI? I don't know what that means. Um, but yeah, essentially, I just, yeah, May 7th was so exhausting that I was just like, you know what? Celebrating on the 8th. You celebrate on the 8th. And technically yesterday was the 8th for me. It's the morning of the 9th for me. And basically, I hung out with some friends. It was 6 of us in total. And then we went back to a friend's place. We ordered Dairy Queen. And we watched the 2005 movie Doom with The Rock. And it was stupid fun. I liked it. The 16 personalities. I don't remember. It's been a while since. Yeah. I think I'm like. Oh, wait. I remember the name. Give me 1 second. Let me Google a thing. And it's funny. I always remember the name of it, but I don't remember the letters. INFJ. INFJ. I remember it because it's called The Advocate. And it's like, haha, I'm an autistic advocate and my thing is The Advocate. Teehee. But yeah, do you like Stimtastic? I've never heard of that before. Yeah, I've never heard of Stimtastic. I'll have to look it up. Yeah, I've seen a lot of autistics are on INFJ, or at least IN. Yep. I think, oh geez, when was the first time I took that test? It was like a long time ago. Been around for a while. But yeah. Personally, I don't believe that personalities can be separated into just 16 groups. Things are a lot more complex than that, but hey, people enjoy it, so cool. I'm not gonna knock it. Just as long as you don't do a thing like people do with astrology, where it's like, oh, I can't help my bad behavior. It's because I'm this star sign. Just don't do that. All right. Oh, yes. After this, okay. So, here in China, Stimtastic makes chewable jewelry. I have few other chewies. Only thing I chew on is my nails. And I guess my food. I should probably get something to stop me from chewing my nails. I've been doing it all my life.
To be fair, one of the things that has stopped it temporarily was the new peelable
nail polish.
Yeah, when you wore it for the
wedding. Yeah. But yeah, shoot. I lost my train of thought. Oh, right. Okay, so, for my birthday and Christmas, my family send codes from, like, Steam points or Nintendo points, stuff like that. Where they live, they have not, like, restocked on Steam cards, so I just asked for Nintendo points. And so, with those Nintendo points, I got the new Pokemon Snap, so I'm going to be playing that later today. Yay! I'm excited because yeah, I'd be a teen when I wait, when did the original Pokemon Snap come out? I think I was a teenager. I can't remember. Anyways, so I shall leave you there. Um, let's see. Yeah, I have an email. um, let's see. Um, Mary, would you like me to answer it now? Because it'll probably be a month before I do another live stream. Um, although I may need time to answer it, if that's okay, because yeah, I'm gonna need time to answer that in. Yeah, now I'm only doing these live streams once a month, but I will answer it. If you want, I can email you the answer and also answer it on the live stream. I'll let you make that decision. In one of your comics, you mentioned the price of groceries in China versus China. Be careful of food in China because of the food scandals. Oh, I do know about that.
Having been here for 4 years, we're pretty good at navigating around that.
Yeah. We know what to avoid and stuff like that. Like, I know there's a big issue with pork recently and stuff like that.
But honestly, the regulations actually have tightened up quite a bit.
Yeah, and most of the stuff that's like super super cheap is like their vegetables and stuff like that, and eggs. Oh my gosh, eggs are so cheap. But yeah. Okay, I'll respond to your email. I'll email you my response after I do some research, read it and research and stuff like that. And then yeah, I'll also answer it on the next live stream in case anybody um else has that issue. Yeah, been living in China since 2017. Yeah. We're staying here a year longer because of COVID. uh, but anyways, I'm gonna let you all go. Thank you all for coming. I really, really appreciate it. Um, it was awesome having you all here, and for my birthday, it makes me so happy. All right, bye. Let's all do the Teresa dance.
Do, 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 do.